All right. Welcome to another Maker Monday interview. Today is June 15th. And as always, we have a very special guest I want to share with you tonight. For those who are new to Go Imagine, I'm sure you've heard of us now that you're here. And we are the world's first marketplace that's donating 100% of profits to charity. And through this process, as we build out our charitable marketplace, we've been attracting more and more sellers of the handmade variety coming onto our marketplace. And this entire vision does not exist without the makers. That's why we've decided to start this new Maker Monday interview so we can introduce the world to some of the makers that have built stores on Go Imagine. And today we want to introduce you to the maker and the creator of Hope on a Rope jewelry. Let's say hello, everybody, to Kim Newcomb. Hello, Kim.
Hello. Thanks for having me on here.
I'm excited to have you. Now, truth be told, full disclosure, I've actually known you for a long time, Kim. Yeah. You were friends with one of my friends. You went to college with her. I won't say when. It was a long time ago that you were in college with her. But that's how we got connected, actually, because I was telling her about Go Imagine, and she said, you know who you should talk to? Talk to Kim Newcomb. She has like this tremendous handmade store.
Oh,
and so that certainly led me to you, Kim, and I'm very excited to have you talk with me today.
Well, I'm excited to be here.
So you said you were nervous, but I've known you for a while, and you never seem nervous. So
well,
we're gonna get through this together.
We'll get through it.
So let's start with the beginning. I want to hear a little bit about Hope on a Rope jewelry, the fact that you're now a jewelry maker, but if you go back in time, what got you into jewelry making in the beginning?
Well, I've always loved making things. I'm a big crafter. I love being able to just create things out of nothing, and I love jewelry. So once I started tinkering with beads and stuff like that, and I really started to like making jewelry. And so then once I was doing that, I thought, maybe I could start selling this stuff, and it went from there.
So when you first started making jewelry, it was more just on your own, just so you could wear it?
Yes. Yeah. Just for fun. Yeah.
And did you ever go through any courses or anything, or was this really something that you just picked up on your own?
So in the beginning, yeah, I just picked up on my own as far as the beads and all that. But then later on, I took a metalsmithing class, and that's when I kind of switched gears. I started to fall in love with metal, working with metal, and and it took off from there. And I wanted to work with metal.
Right. No, that's great. And so what year was this that you've actually opened up their first time selling online?
So it was probably back in 2009, I would say. So
okay.
Quite a while ago. Yeah. So
about 11 years ago.
Yep. So I started small, and I started very small and opened up a shop and kind of just started building it from there.
So did you expect when you started it and you threw your jewelry up there, did you have any sort of a business plan involved, or was it more just let's see what happens? Let's just see if someone buys it.
There was no business plan till way later. Yeah, it was okay. Let's see what happens. Let's see if this stuff will sell. I'll just do it as a hobby. Well, even selling, it was pretty much a hobby, and figured I'd take it one day at a time.
I think that's pretty traditional. I think most people just They have it as a hobby, they throw it up there, and then after they start doing it, they start realizing that, hey, it's like getting a taste of blood, like, oh, I can make money at this.
Right.
And all of a sudden, it's like, I can actually do this for real life.
Yeah, yeah.
So how many years were you doing it? Because you worked full-time when you first started your job, right?
Yes. So I worked full-time, and I was doing it on the side. I would do it, just any kind of chance I got. And then once my kids were born, I cut down my work hours, and I would work on my jewelry during nap time and bedtime. So, any moment that I could get my orders out. And once the kids got older, it got a lot easier, and I was able to start building my business even more because they were in school.
Right. Which makes sense.
Yeah.
At what point was there a point where you were getting so busy you had to be full-time at it, but you weren't really full-time at it? Was there that kind of like,
definitely,
a point where like, it's time to make this real? Like,
yeah, there wasn't a lot of sleep happening. It was time to do something drastic. So that's when I left my job and started to do this full-time.
Okay. And with that, because I know you were selling on another online marketplace, but you also now have your own e-commerce website as well. When did Hope on a Rope Jewelry, the website, start?
The website was probably, I want to say, about 5 years ago. So that
Okay.
one, fairly new, I guess. Relatively.
I feel like the older we get, the newer things become longer apart. That was only like 17 years ago. It was just
Right.
around the corner. Just happened, I think.
So true. Yeah.
I totally, I'm with you. We're right here. I get it. Like, I have underwear that's older than my kids. So, so you started Hope on a Rope jewelry. Tell me about the name Hope on a Rope. I mean, obviously it has a lot of different connotations, but what led you to wanting to call yourself Hope on a Rope jewelry?
So I literally started, when I switched to making with metal, I literally started by stamping the word hope onto a charm and tying it and then putting it on a cord. So it was, when I was playing around with names, it kind of just seemed like that's what it should be called. So that was, one of my biggest sellers at the time. And, for me, stamping hope, I do a lot of like inspirational, motivational type jewelry. So having the word hope in there, I thought was pretty perfect to describe what I do.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic name, and I like the logo as well, which we'll get to. So you started off with gems, but you switched on to metalsmith, and I think I asked you this before, but when you consider what kind of jewelry you want to make, are you more following trends that you think are happening, or is it more things that at the time you like to make and you're making it for other people because you like it? Is there a method to your madness on what type of jewelry you make and when you make it?
So it's a little bit of both. I, started because I couldn't find out there what I wanted to wear personally. And so a lot of it is stuff that I would wear, stuff I personally like. But I also, I know you've talked about the Flourish group a lot in Go Imagine. I'm a member of that. And so I will follow the trends on there. And that's been super helpful with deciding what to make that, people are out there that want.
Okay. So the trends are, so with Flourish and the trends that are happening, tell me about the designs. And I wanted to bring up your website here as well, just so everyone can get a little bit of glimpse of your website on Go Imagine. And you've got a lot of great things here. You said before you would consider your category minimalist jewelry. Is that the way you would phrase it?
Yes, I have. It's tiny in size. It's very simple, dainty, minimalist. Yeah.
Okay. And is it all pretty much stamped now? It's hand stamped jewelry.
Yeah, well, it's either hand stamped or soldered, stuff like that.
All right. And now some of these stamps, you actually hand make these stamps. You make the designs themselves, correct?
Yes. Yep. So the wildflower one there, for instance, that was one in particular that stood out from the other ones because I actually drew that on a piece of paper at first. It was inspired by the wildflowers in my backfield. And I'm not an artist, a hand artist. I do not draw. So when I had drew it, I was shocked. I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty nice. So I sent the file, I uploaded it, sent it away, and had it turned into a stamp. And then from there, I stamped the metal with the stamp, and the wildflower necklace was born.
That's wonderful. Now, let me ask you, this seems like to me, when you make a new piece of jewelry, right? Something that you like and you've made, but you've never sold before, and you put it up there. Is there that, I'm guessing here, kind of a rush of adrenaline, like, I wonder if people will like this. I mean, I love it, but will anybody else want to buy it?
Definitely, especially since it's a whole process. So, I make it through trial and error. I figure out what I think will sell. And then once I find this, then I send it away to get it photographed. So that's another process right there. And then once I put it up, I just kind of wait, see what happens.
You're so good.
Because just because I like it doesn't necessarily mean everyone else will.
Listen, and it's funny. I some people know that in a past life I performed stand-up comedy a lot, and hearing handmade artists, which I'm not one, but I hear about the experience you guys go through, and it's similar in the sense of, like, for me it would be telling a new joke. Like, I don't know if they're going to like it or not. I've worked on it, and I just hope they do after it comes out.
Yes, definitely. Kind of feeling.
Yeah. And then so as you start selling these, you mentioned that the wildflower one and the hope on the rope, the original one, were your best sellers. with your bestsellers, do you approach those in any different way than your other ones? Are you marketing them more in some way, or are you just letting the cream rises to the top on its own?
No, yeah, it's based on just what people are buying. I think though a huge part of it is the photography for sure. I can't recommend that enough, is to find a good photographer, get professional photos. That was really the tipping point for me that made me not only look more professional, but increase my sales. Because people not only could see it clearly, see it look professional, they could see it on a model and be able to tell the size that way.
Right, right. And so, yeah, it's funny you say that because you are definitely a Flourish member. They mentioned that Flourish as well. So, did you see a definite difference in your own sales when you had maybe taken your own pictures to when they got professionally done?
Oh yes, it was a complete 180. It took me into the next level for sure. It's
Wow.
definitely, I cannot recommend it enough to, if you want to take your business to the next level, it's something that I highly recommend.
Get the photos done. Yeah,
Get the
yeah.
photos.
And so how do you go about, like, so this is an actual model wearing your jewelry.
Yeah, so there's a Facebook page I'm a part of that's called Let's Collab, and
Okay.
they connect professional photographers with small businesses. And basically, you can post saying you're looking for pictures of your items and post the pictures of your items. And then photographers will respond with, if they're interested, and you're trading product for the professional pictures.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So it's
Okay.
great. And you can find, if you connect with a particular photographer, you can then, hire them later if you'd like, or, keep collabing.
It's interesting too, because I feel like the handmade world has gone through evolutions over the past couple decades as it gets more into
Definitely.
the online, and it's gotten to the point now where sometimes handmade things are so nice they don't look handmade.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a good thing, except that it also means that you want people to hear your story, because when I see something like this, it means a lot more knowing that it was handmade by someone who did it themselves, made it themselves, drew it themselves, versus some big corporate manufacturer just pounding them out and sending them out to every Walmart in the country, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's the curse and blessing of social media. Like when I first started, social media wasn't really a big thing. And now it's kind of dependent on it. That's how you get your name out there, is Instagram, Facebook, and all that. Yeah.
And
So
is that so? I've asked this question before, and I'd like to have your take on it as well. What is the experience like for someone like you, where I think, like a lot of makers, you get into this because you love the art, you love what you make, but at a certain point, as you grow, you have to start doing things that weren't exactly your, like, doing social media, running a business, doing taxes, the stuff that it takes to run a business outside of just making your jewelry.
yeah,
Has that been easy for you, or has that been an experience that, like,
it's been a learning experience. I say this all the time, and I just like making jewelry, but now I also have to be good at advertising, marketing, social media. I have to be accounting, all these things. So I reached a point where I decided I'm gonna, take the things, keep them for myself that I want to have control over, and maybe give up a little control and let other people handle some other things. So, I got an accountant, and I have someone that helps me with my Facebook social media. So that's been very helpful. That's taken a lot of pressure off.
That's wonderful. So you actually use someone now who helps a little bit with getting the posts out on social media.
Yes. Yeah. I do my own Instagram, but Facebook, I have help. Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's great. I mean, and that's part of the growth. As you project yourself out years from now, and your kids are growing up, and you can maybe dedicate more and more time into your business. Where do you want to take it? Is there a dream of yours? Is it really where you want it to be, is where it is today, or where can you see it 5 years from now?
I mean, I'd like to keep it handmade. I'd like to keep where I do like that it's just me right now, because then I can have control over everything. I can, be there for my kids when they get off the bus, if they ever go back to school.
You can also be there right now, 24 hours a day, all the time.
Yes. Yeah. So, I would like to grow as far as having employees to help, to definitely help with the packaging, stuff like that. But I do like I like making it myself. I love that part. So the other stuff I can get help with, but I want to be able to keep making myself.
So more of a, if I had to put an analogy around this, if you were a cook, you'd like to cook the meals, but the actual dishes afterwards or washing and all that. So like you
no,
all the stuff around
it. Yeah.
No, that makes sense. That makes wonderful sense. Yeah, no, I'm very impressed. Actually, my wife bought a piece from you, and I know she loves what she got from you as well. So tell me, I lost my train of thought there for a second. How do I want to phrase this? If you had to give advice to a new maker, someone who is wanting to get started now, might be nervous about getting started, doesn't know where to start, what would you tell us? What would you tell yourself 67 years ago when you started selling on? I just feel like we're both. So 10 years ago when you started selling online, what would you tell yourself then if you were getting going?
I mean, I would say start small for sure. Test the waters, see how it goes, but definitely do it. Definitely start. You aren't going to know how it works out unless you do it.
And when you say start small, just throw the items up. Like, how would they get started other than going on a marketplace, whether it be Go Imagine or Etsy or Amazon Handmade? Throw it up there and hope it sells, or should they actually start doing some social media?
Well, both, I think, for sure. I think at this time, social media is definitely a needed process. It's a needed part for advertising. So yeah, I would start small, as meaning don't overwhelm yourself with too many products at once. I would recommend going on a place like Go Imagine for sure. Getting your stuff out there, getting good pictures for sure, and taking it from there.
Okay, wonderful. Well, listen, I appreciate your time tonight, Kim. I definitely want to have you again in the future and learn more about where Hope on a Rope is. In fact, I know right now you're in your new studio, aren't you? I
am, yes. We updated the upstairs of our barn, so I finally have a place away from my house, can say goodbye to the kids and get to work.
That's a big deal. That is a huge deal. Did it feel like your business was getting bigger when you got to move to your own space like that?
It did. It feels more official, yes. That I have to walk across the driveway to my office now.
Well, it looks lovely. I mean, whatever it looks like, you put it together really well. Well, listen, I appreciate you spending time with me tonight. I hope to have you again in the future. And everyone, make sure to check out Kim at Hope on a Rope Jewelry. She's on Go Imagine. Also has her own website, hopeonaropejewelry.com. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, great. Well, thanks for joining us, and we'll talk again soon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks, Kim. Bye now.
Bye.